What it do, YouTube? It's your boy Raekwon. Today we're going to be talking about Drake and this lawsuit. We've all been talking about it, and for a good reason. You know, this is an important thing for hip hop, and this can really change some things up, depending on how far this thing goes. So we all know about the petitions that he filed at first, and that was kind of what made a lot of waves. He dismissed the one in New York, but he also filed an additional one in Texas at the same time. We know about the lawsuit in New York that he filed for the defamation. That got pushed back to March 17th. UMG got that pushed back due to the fires in California. And I think they're trying to just let that pass over the Super Bowl is what I really think they're trying to do. I do think the goal is to get Not Like Us performing at the Super Bowl. And now they're addressing the petition in Texas where Drake is pretty much trying to get the streaming numbers. This is important here because this is UMG really fighting back. You don't hear too much from Spotify. This is like directly with UMG here, where basically they're calling Drake a bitch in legal terms. So we're going to go ahead and read over it right now. It says here, UMG Recordings files motion to dismiss Aubrey Karen Graham's petition for pre-suit deposition under blah, blah, blah. That part is not too important. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of the introduction. Petitioner's Rule 202 petition arises out of an ongoing feud between two prominent rap artists. Petitioner, stage name Drake, and Kendrick Lamar Duckworth, stage name Kendrick Lamar. UMG distributes the recordings of both of these artists. Beginning in the spring of 2024, Petitioner and Kendrick each released records containing lyrics which attack the other performer, which are known in the genre as diss tracks. This rap battle culminated in a recording by Kendrick Lamar called Not Like Us, released in May 2024, to which Petitioner has taken offense. Rather than addressing his grievances with Kendrick Lamar, Petitioner has resorted to the strategic legal retaliation against UMG and others in an apparent effort to pressure them to limit the distribution of Not Like Us. Now, I know a lot of people are saying that these lawsuits and everything, all this legal action is being taken because he's a sore loser, and I do think a part of that is that, but I do think a part of that reason why he's also filing these is to limit the distribution, i.e. trying to stop them from performing this at a Super Bowl. That's kind of what I really think this is about. I think that affects him the most, and he booked an entire tour in Australia in February, I think, to get out of the country for this shit. Not even the country, but the continent. I do think that really affects him, and I understand it's one of the biggest stages, and even if I lost the battle, that's a tough L to see, like, the entire world seeing like you being accused of being a PDF downloader. And we're gonna get into those allegations later because they're sticking for a reason, and I think things could have been done better to kind of nullify that point. But yeah, so UMG is fighting back, and I'm happy to see it. I never want to go for the big corporations, but the way Drake has been acting since this loss has been just disgusting and disgrace to hip hop. He's in full Karen mode, and Drake reminds me of the meme. The dude in LA Fitness called the cops over a hard foul in a basketball game.
Yo, this is the hardest foul in America, bro. Have you ever been called for a basketball foul before this is the first time?
That's my first basketball foul.
And that's kind of what Drake is doing here. What really bothers me though is that a lot of the stuff that Drake is complaining about is things that he's benefited from for the past decade plus, essentially. You know, he's been having people's records taken down, verses taken off, allegedly, behind the scenes, and he's been able to do that because he's had the label backing him. You've been riding behind this machine forever. You've benefited from it in every single way. You've bragged about how much the machine loves you, and you know you shouted out Lucian Grange in some of your songs and everything else, and now that you know they do that in favor of somebody else, and now you're the one getting fucked by the machine. Now it's time to go to court, and now it's time to, you know, lawyer up and start suing niggas over some shit. You know, it's one thing to take a stand against the industry and everything, but you can't benefit from a decade plus. Now that you're not getting your way, you know, now it's time to go lawyer up. And the bigger thing here is I understand that a lot of this is money driven. He was in contract negotiations with UMG, trying to, you know, get a pay raise. I think his last contract was like 400 mil. Apparently, allegedly, he's been aiming for about 600, 700 M's, which is a shit ton of money. It's probably the biggest deal we've ever seen. And knowing that he was in these negotiations, I think Drake looked at this opportunity with Kendrick as a way like, if I knock off Kendrick, you know what I'm saying, I can go in there and ask for even more. And I think he was being greedy, and you know Drake is known to gamble. And I think he would gamble with some things in his career, take chances, and he took one here. And my issue is, I feel like if he would have won this beef, he would have went in there trying to get more. So if he was going to go in there and try to get more off of the win and the loss, You either take less or you just got to deal with whatever comes with the loss, depending on how bad you get beat. And for a nigga that was pretty much gambling hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, when you look at how he handled the beef, it don't seem like he was that well calculated, prepared, or even interested in the battle. Like, if you know this is top op and you need to beat him, why, in probably your best diss track out of all of them, which is Family Matters, why are you going after 12 other niggas? Why? This is the main target here. Weeknd is not going to respond to you no time soon. ASAP Rocky is not going to respond to you no time soon. Rick Ross doesn't really matter. Like, the niggas that you addressed in that song had nothing to do with nothing at the moment. This is top op here. This is Kendrick Lamar, the boogeyman. This is the man you should have been focused on. And instead, for some reason, he wanted to go 1v20 or whatever. And I think it was just a dumb fucking move, especially if you have hundreds of millions of dollars on the line here. Which goes to ego, and I'm going to get into that later, because I do think his ego is what kind of caused the downfall of all of this. The one thing I want to address is why the defamation suit is coming out, and it's because the PDF downloader angle was so effective, and which begs me to ask the question, why was it so effective? And we're going to get into it right now. If you guys don't know, Drake does have a shaky history with underage girls, and I'm not going to put any allegations on him, not only because he's already in court for it, but it's a really hefty allegation to put on someone if we don't have concrete proof. But we do have some questionable situations that I don't feel like were ever addressed by Drake directly or as direct as it needed to be. The main one is the Millie Bobby Brown situation. About 6 years ago, Millie Bobby Brown was talking about how she texts Drake, and they talk about how they miss each other.
I love him. I met him in Australia, and he's honestly so fantastic and a great friend and a great role model. You know, we just texted each other the other day, and he was like, "I miss you so much." I was like, "I miss you more." He's coming to Atlanta, so I'm definitely gonna go and see him. I'm so excited. Yeah.
What advice does he give you? Like, what does he say?
About boys, he helps me.
What?
Yeah. He's great. He's wonderful. I love him.
What's his advice with boys?
You know, that stays in the text messages.
And she said, Drake's my man and I love you. And sometimes even in his lives, she would be in there and say, I love you or I miss you with hearts. And it just looks weird. And I think around this time, Drake was 30 or a little over 30. And she's 14. And if you know that's on your jacket, if you know that the whole world is saying, what the fuck? You have to address that directly. You know what I'm saying? If you cared about these allegations enough to go to court and grab a lawyer and start suing people, you should have thought maybe when that first came out, you should have addressed it properly. Not a couple bars on For All the Dogs for years later after that shit happens. That's not how that was supposed to go. Not only that, but Millie Bobby Brown had to put on her Instagram story defending her friendship with you. You should have been not right there next to her, not in that way, but you should have addressed it the same fucking way. I've seen you give more energy to Joe Budden and shit when it comes to like how you deal with people, and you didn't give that shit no type of shit. And what bothers me is it seems like he knew that was going to be an angle because he mentioned it in a Taylor Made freestyle, and on top of that he said it, I want to say, in one other song, and so he knew this was an angle that was coming. And he tried to 8 Mile himself out of it. But when you have shit like that on you and you haven't addressed it properly, it's gonna stick. Not only that, but I do think a little bit is people don't like you right now. So I think they was looking for any reason to. But that's a smidget compared to the evidence that they have. Millie Bobby Brown, Billie Eilish, the 17-year-old, which was not as questionable because you didn't know her age. But after she told you she was 17, the shit you said afterwards was a little bit weird to me. So when you add all that together, for me, it makes sense why it's sticking. And I don't know if they're going to bring up those type of situations in court. I don't even know if that's even necessary, but there are some questionable things around Drake surrounding underage women. Now it's time to address the ego, because I think the ego is where everything went south. Once again, I think he got greedy and thought that he was going to knock off Kendrick, and he wasn't focused enough to understand who he was dealing with. I personally, if I'm fighting for hundreds of millions of dollars, I wouldn't even engage in the beef. I don't feel like he had to. I feel like if you were going to use ego at any point, it could have been to tell Kendrick, you know what I'm saying? You could say fuck the big three or whatever, but Drake is the only one out of that big three that supplies us with music on a yearly basis. And I'm not a fan of most of it, but I got to give credit where credit is due, especially when I be waiting for Kendrick albums and Cole albums. We've been waiting on the fall off from J. Cole since like 2017. still ain't got it. You know what I'm saying? So I gotta salute people that be consistent, and that's something he could have, hang his hat on. Instead, he got into this beef. Not only that, but he drops a song aiming at a bunch of niggas, and then you taunting the nigga, telling him, "No, no, no, you following through." Like, you said all of this, and you taunted him, and when he finally came outside, he buried your ass, and now you in court, and you said in the beef, the cease and desist is for hoes, and if a cease and desist is for hoes, what is a defamation suit for? Bitch ass niggas. I don't know, but when you look at all of this is a bad look, and everything that Drake has done since he took this L has just looked terrible. The sneak dissing, the leaking freestyles, and all this other shit is all just look fucking terrible. It's definitely gonna cost him for the rest of his career. I don't even know if he goes back with UMG when this is over, but I do think we're gonna see what Drake is like without the machine. And I know a lot of people say that he's still gonna be a megastar, but I don't think people truly understand the impact of labels. I'm not saying that Drake won't sell it all, but Drake independent is gonna look a whole lot smaller pause than he does when he's backed by a label. And that's anybody. That's not exclusive to Drake. That's really anybody. And it's not that necessarily that the labels make Drake, but the label makes the talent, but he makes the talent last, and it makes the talent. It's almost like getting the star in Mario Kart. That's kind of what the label is for a lot of artists. If you're an artist that already has an immense amount of talent, you getting with a major label is like eating that star in Mario Kart. That's essentially what it is, and we're gonna see what that looks like. I am looking. Part of me wants to see this go further though, in terms of the streaming numbers with this petition, because I do want to see what I want the curtain to be peeled back on. Some of the stuff that a lot of artists suffer from when it comes to numbers and stuff like that. And I would like to see what that looks like, or how that magic machine button is pushed, and what does it do exactly. I am interested in that. But when it comes to this defamation suit, I want this shit to get squashed immediately, and I'm hoping he loses that shit quickly, because I think that if, let's say he does get a little bit, or let's say he does win this lawsuit, I think labels are gonna start policing lyrics like you've never seen before. A lot of our lyrics, if we're taking 100% seriously, a lot of niggas will end up behind bars, and they do already. But if you can triple that number if niggas start taking lyrics seriously, or you won't hear a lot of this music because labels will start just taking shit down or not approving shit to be released. And when you start to have that issue and you start to be policed, it's just no fun. Whenever big corporations know that they're liable to be sued, shit gets bad. I used to work at Amazon, and I used to print t-shirts, soft ass shit. I was wearing steel toes in that fucking warehouse, and part of that is because Amazon knows they're liable to be sued, and they don't play that fucking game. So guess what, nigga? You in here with these soft ass t-shirts, you still gotta wear these steel toes. I had some clown ass shoes on every fucking day because of that. So I know what it's like to deal with big corporations, and the lengths they're willing to go to make sure that they are pretty much 100% not liable for anything to happen or be able to be sued. So we'll be looking at an entirely different music industry in terms of hip hop if we allow this suit, or this suit gets any traction, or Drake wins anything from it. He should have took this L gracefully, and he didn't. And he looks like a Karen right now, and all you niggas defending him look worse. So just keep that in mind, man. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section. This looks absolutely nuts. Like I said, I hope the defamation suit is going quickly, but I would like to see what comes out of that petition. Maybe. Hopefully it's nothing like, I just want to see the information. I'm just curious. But anyway, it's your boy Raekwon. I'm out, man.